Hello friends, back with me again, Joseph, your host, and welcome back to our channel where we hear amazing stories of saints. Today we're going to learn about a very special saint whose story is all about courage and standing firm in faith. His name is Saint Peter of Caesarea, and his feast day is January 11th. Now, you might not have heard of him before, but his life is a powerful reminder of how to stay true to Jesus, even when it's really hard. Saint Peter of Caesarea lived a long time ago, in the early 4th century. That's over 1,700 years ago. He lived in a big, important city called Caesarea, which is in modern-day Turkey. At that time, being a Christian wasn't always easy or safe. The church was still growing, and there were a lot of challenges. Peter served as the bishop of Caesarea. Being a bishop was a huge responsibility. It meant he was the leader of the church in his city. He had to teach people about God, help them grow in their faith, and protect the church from wrong ideas. And he did it all with incredible kindness and a very strong faith. We don't know a lot about Peter's childhood, but it's likely he grew up in a Christian family. Imagine growing up in a time when you had to be careful about sharing your faith. His parents probably taught him about Jesus and the Bible from a very young age. This early learning helped build the foundation for the strong leader he would become. He stayed devoted to God and wanted to serve the church his whole life, probably studied under other wise teachers and bishops, getting ready for the important mission God had planned for him. When Peter became the bishop of Caesarea, he stepped into a really big job. He followed a holy man named Saint Hermogenes. As bishop, his main duty was to be a shepherd to his people. He had to guide them, feed them spiritually with the truth, and protect them. One of the biggest problems during his time was a wrong teaching called Arianism. Arianism was a heresy that caused a lot of confusion. People who followed it said that Jesus wasn't truly God. This was a huge deal because it went against the core teaching of our faith. It was a difficult time and many people were getting confused. But Bishop Peter stood firm. He wasn't afraid to speak the truth. He clearly taught everyone that Jesus is both true God and true man. He worked with other faithful bishops to keep the church united and strong against these false ideas. Some stories even say that Peter suffered for standing up for the truth. He might have been mistreated by people who supported Arianism. But through it all, he never gave up. He remained faithful to Jesus right to the very end. The time Peter lived in was full of change. Just before he became a bishop, there was a terrible persecution of Christians. Many were even killed for their faith. But then, an emperor named Constantine came to power, and things started to change for the better. Constantine gave Christians the freedom to worship openly. This was a wonderful blessing. But even with this new freedom, there were still fights happening inside the church. Heresies like Arianism created a lot of arguments. So bishops like Peter had to be very strong and wise leaders. They had to guide their flock, protect them from wrong teachings, and work hard to keep peace and unity in the church. Peter's work was part of a huge effort by many good and holy leaders who fought to protect the truth. Their courage and dedication helped the church not only survive but grow even stronger. You might be wondering, how did Peter become a saint? In the early church, there wasn't a formal process like we have today. Saints were often recognized by the local people because of their holy lives and their powerful example. The people who knew Peter saw his deep faith and his courage, and they honored him as a saint. His memory lives on because he showed everyone what it means to be a faithful follower of Christ. Today, Saint Peter of Caesarea is sometimes considered a patron saint for bishops and teachers. He's a great role model for them, reminding them to stay strong in their faith and to teach the truth with clarity and love. So what can we learn from Saint Peter's life today? His story is all about standing strong when faith is hard. Think about it. Peter lived when many people around him believed the wrong things. Some were even trying to change what the church taught. But Peter didn't give in. He stayed faithful to what he knew was true, even when it wasn't popular. Sometimes, we might feel pressure to hide our faith or change what we believe to fit in. Maybe our friends or things we see online say that the church's teachings are old-fashioned. It can be really tough to stay faithful when you feel like you're the only one. But St. Peter's story shows us that we are not alone. He faced similar struggles, and he trusted that God would give him the strength to get through them. Peter also shows us that being a leader is about serving others. As a bishop, he didn't just boss people around. He taught the truth with love and cared for their souls. We might not all be bishops, but we are all called to help others in their faith journey. We can do this by teaching our families, being a good example to our friends, and living in a way that shows God's love and truth. Saint Peter's life shows us that true faith isn't always easy, but it is always worth it. It's about living out what we believe every single day, trusting that God will give us the strength we need. Now, let's answer some quick questions about this amazing saint. Who was Saint Peter of Caesarea? He was a holy bishop who lived in the early 4th century. Where is Caesarea? It's an ancient city in what is now Turkey. What was he known for? He was known for being a strong and courageous leader who stood up against false teachings. What false teaching did he fight? He fought against Arianism, which taught that Jesus was not truly God. Is he the same as Saint Peter the Apostle? That's a great question. No, they are different saints. Saint Peter the Apostle was one of Jesus' 12 disciples and lived during Jesus' time on earth. Saint Peter of Caesarea lived a few hundred years later. How did he become a saint? The early Christians recognized his holy life and faithfulness, and they began to honor him as a saint. Why is he important for us today? He is a powerful example of how to stay true to our faith, especially during difficult times. Saint Peter of Caesarea is like a light that still shines for us today. He lived in a challenging time, but he never let fear or trouble turn him away from Jesus. He stood up and spoke the truth when it would have been easier to stay silent. He cared for the people God entrusted to him and remained strong, even when it was hard. His story has a simple but powerful message for all of us. Stay faithful, no matter what. When we feel weak or unsure, we can look to his example and remember that one person standing firm for the truth can make a huge difference. Now it's your turn. Take some time to think about Saint Peter of Caesarea. How can his story help you be stronger in your faith? What are some small ways you can live out your faith more courageously, just like he did? Thank you for joining me to learn about the incredible life of Saint Peter of Caesarea. His courage and faithfulness are an inspiration for all of us. I hope his story encourages you to stand firm in what you believe and to share God's love with everyone you meet. If you enjoyed this story and want to learn about more amazing saints, don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our channel. Take care, everyone. Stay safe and healthy as usual. See you next time, and God bless you always.